Good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank Councilman Lavange and Councilwoman Hahn for asking us to do this presentation before the full City Council. And there's a lot of ground to cover, and I realize you're busy and we'll be brief. Our goal is to address the following situation. How is it that in the Assembly District with the fewest acres of parks per 1,000 residents in Pico Union here in LA, this school was locked off to the children of the neighborhood. They have no places to play in parks. They cannot play in the schools. They are suffering from unprecedented levels of child obesity, ranging in the best district, Councilman Weiss's district, of 18% to the worst district, 29%, in Councilman Park's district. How did we get to be in this situation today in one of the wealthiest cities in the world? And the good news is there is hope. The good news is there is change. In the 1930s, the Olmsted brothers proposed a continuous system of parks, schools, playgrounds, beaches, transportation, that if it had been implemented, Los Angeles today would be one of the most beautiful cities, one of the greenest cities in the world. Instead, this tragic reality is that children of color living in poverty with no access to a car have the worst access to parks, the worst access to school fields of 5 acres or more, the worst access to transportation to reach parks and schools. They suffer from the highest levels of child obesity. And that map there, the red hot spots, are where those children live. The green stands for 2 things. One, it's where the green space is. It's also where disproportionately white and wealthy communities live, with fewer children than the county average. So the people who need the most have the least, and the people who need less have the most. The Los Angeles Times published this chart based on our study. On the far left, you see Council District 11 with almost 60 acres of total parks per 1,000 residents. On the far right, you see City Council District 10, Councilman Wesson's district, with less than half an acre of parks per 1,000 residents. That is what the map looks like for the city of LA. The red hotspots in the inner city, the green areas in wealthier, wider parts of the city. What are the solutions? Laura Chick, the controller, issued in 2006 an excellent audit of recreation and parks, providing a blueprint for change. First of all, there needs to be a strategic plan to improve parks in every neighborhood. Second, there need to be standards to measure progress in park access and park equity. Third, a community needs assessment that's now underway. 4, a fair system of finance and fees. 5, shared use of parks and schools. And finally, addressing community safety in parks. The good news is Controller Chick consistently issues audits providing blueprints for change of recreation and parks. She issued another one last week of Quimby funds. The not so good news is it's taking tremendous amounts of time to implement her recommendations. The strategic plan for parks and recreation should be implemented now. In terms of Quimby reform, our recommendations are that the $129 million in Quimby fees from the last 5 to 10 years be invested now. The Rec and Parks does not have a plan to do that. We recommend giving the money to the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy for them to invest it on behalf of the City of Los Angeles. It can be done. It should be done. Also, Quimby funds and other park funds should be invested based on need, not on City Council district, not on a 2-mile or 1-mile artificial radius, but based on need. And the need should be measured in 2 ways. Number 1, park poverty, the fewest acres of parks per 1,000 residents, and number 2, economic poverty, people living at or below the federal poverty line. And unfortunately, in this society, economic poverty is an alias for race and ethnicity, but we have to confront the fact that in Los Angeles, access to parks and recreation and health is a civil rights issue. It's an issue of equal justice. That is the most park-rich area of Los Angeles, City Council District 11, Councilman Rosendale's district. This is City Councilman Councilman Wesson's district with the fewest acres of parks per 1,000 residents. We can fix those things. This is the obesity levels that I mentioned earlier. The county health department has published the map of child obesity levels. You can overlay that on the maps of parks, and there's almost a one-to-one correspondence between where there's no places to play and the highest levels of child obesity. Los Angeles is one of the 8 worst counties in the state in terms of access to green space, measured by fewest acres of parks per 1,000 residents, levels of child obesity, number of children, number of people living in poverty, and number of people of color. As I say, there's money to fix this. There's Quimby funds. There's Prop 84 funds. As Laura Chick recommended, there needs to be standards to invest those funds. Again, park poverty and economic poverty. We are very happy that we recently received a grant from the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy to address this issue. This will be the next great urban park in Los Angeles. That is Griffith Park on the west side of the LA River. That is also Griffith Park on the east side of the river, but on the east side, the park land is being used for a junkyard. We hope to work with Recreation and Parks to change that within a year into a real park. We've succeeded in working with the community and the city in creating, and the state, in creating the Los Angeles State Historic Park at the Cornfield, converting Taylor Yard into active recreation with soccer fields, passive recreation with planting of trees and nature hikes. This is Ascot Hills in East LA. The groundbreaking for Ascot Hills was in November of 2005, and sadly, this has not moved. And again, there is no reason for delay. Several years is a long time in a child's life. There is not enough park space in East LA. This can be remedied quickly. We're working with the county on addressing the oil drilling in Baldwin Hills, a 2-square-mile park in the heart of African-American Los Angeles. We hope to study the impact of oil drilling on human health, on parks, on the community. Joint use of schools and parks. We congratulate this council for passing the resolution calling for joint use of parks and schools. LAUSD has passed a similar resolution. We hope to work with both the city and the school district on this. We're working with United Teachers of Los Angeles on a physical education campaign. The goals are to get children to move more, eat well, stay healthy, and do their best in school and in life. Parks can make a difference. Eliminate junk food in those parks, provide those parks for after-school activities, and also during the school year and school day to enforce the physical education requirements. LAUSD does not enforce physical education requirements. That is why 87% of children in LAUSD are not physically fit. That is one reason why the levels of child obesity are so high. And we will be working with the City Council District on a resolution to support LAUSD enforcing the physical education requirements of state law. We hope that this pool, the Miguel Contreras pool, will be open this summer for those children, along with every other pool in Los Angeles as part of the joint use program. And keep in mind, year-round schools are no longer an option. By 2010, they have to be eliminated, but there is not yet any plan on what to do with 700,000 school children during the summer. There's no plan for them at schools. There's no plan for them in parks. We need to start planning now. We are happy to work with Councilwoman Gruhl and the other members of the City Council to plan for that now, because otherwise you're going to see situations like that of 700,000 children locked out of schools and parks. In Councilman Rosenthal's district, we are very glad to have worked with him 2 years ago. This is a trail in the Santa Monica Mountains that a wealthy developer wanted to keep locked up. Councilman Rosenthal and his staff were excellent in keeping that trail open. Today it is the Richard Riordan and Nancy Riordan Trail. We had to bring a lawsuit to keep that trail open. But in contrast with the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, we are working on transit to trails, taking kids from the inner city who have never been to mountains, never been to beaches, never visited the LA River, and providing them transit, hundreds of children at a time. Secretary of the Interior, Dirk Kempthorne, flew out from Washington, D.C. to go on one of those trips. That is a pilot project for what the City of LA and MTA should be doing to provide access to children to open space. Finally, Councilwoman Gruhl, we're very happy to be working with your office and Spark, Judy Baca, the Social and Public Art Resource Center, to extend and restore the Great Wall of Los Angeles. Thank you for your financial support, your help in making the city and the state and the county work together. We have analyzed the cultural and historical monuments in Los Angeles. There are 700 monuments. Only 60 have to do with women or people of color or Native Americans. We are working with Spark to extend the Great Wall, but also to have more monuments commemorate the role of people of color and women and workers and Native Americans in the history of Los Angeles through the Heritage Parkscape, which will link over 100 sites along the LA River from the Great Wall to Rio de Los Angeles State Park, to the Los Angeles State Historic Park, to El Pueblo. This is why we do what we do. In Councilman Reyes's district, Rigoberta Menchú, the Nobel Peace Laureate, came to the Tournament of Peace and Hope to praise the creation of parks as a way of saying no to war, saying no to violence, giving our children lifelong lessons in hope. Again, the gang problem, the shooting problem, it's not just a gang problem. Children have no place to play, nothing to do. We're working together with many groups across the city, with each of your offices, with other government agencies. There is hope. There can be change. Thank you very much.